My first experience going to Quebec was mind-blowing. I had very little clue of what I was getting myself into, but once I got into it, I was totally hooked. When riding Quebec, you can for sure expect some of the best trails that snowmobiling has to offer. These trails are groomed to perfection, they're wide. The riders are all very respectful of the riding there, and when you pull into fuel stations and lodges, Quebec has found this way to take the winter season and embrace snowmobilers with a hospitality like no other. My perfect day in Quebec would be we would trailer up and drop somewhere in the early morning, and we'll be leg over riding right away. And when we ride, we don't really mess around much. We're out there to ride. We love to put high miles on. If you just want to put your helmet on and ride and just shut out the rest of the world, just let your mind clear with every flow of the trail, Quebec is the place to go. It's really easy to get on your snowmobile and ride only during daylight hours and put on 400 kilometers a day. One of my favorite places to go to in Quebec, and it's usually my first ride of the season as well, is to trailer up to Abitibi-Témiscamingue, drop there, and then ride the railway line up to Ville-Marie. Stop at the clubhouse at Ville-Marie. The hospitality at this clubhouse is bar none. And then we'll ride out to Rapid 7. If that's an awesome place to stop for lunch, over to the Val-d'Or warm-up shelter, up to Malartic for gas, and into Amos for the night. Amos is an exceptional town for hospitality. You can find everything you need there. It's also a great place to spend the night if you want to take in an extra loop. And a great loop to take from there is a day loop up to Mattagami in the Eeyou Baie-James region and back down again to Amos. Another region I like to hit up is the Outaouais region. From there we would drop somewhere like Shawville and snowmobile up to Maniwaki. This pathway up to there, it's beautiful trails. They're a little bit tighter than what we might be used to in northern Quebec. And then once you hit Maniwaki, everything just opens right up. So then from Maniwaki, you can snowmobile over and hit up the Laurentides, which takes you into the Mont-Laurier region. Everywhere you go in Quebec, they're very open to receiving snowmobilers from Ontario and other regions outside of province snowmobilers. They do everything they can to welcome us in and cater to snowmobilers. They're there for the snowmobilers, you're there for the snowmobiling, and it all works out. Like, you'll be pulling into a lodge in the middle of nowhere, just expecting basic accommodations, and you'll get 5-star accommodations. Quebec is my go-to for riding, mostly because I can really extend my riding season that way. Guaranteed my first ride of the season is going to be in Quebec. And usually my last ride of the season is in Quebec for the same reason. They have the snow. One of the tours I'd like to take in this winter in Quebec would be the St. Lawrence tour. That would involve probably dropping and leaving from somewhere around Quebec City, hitting on the north side of the St. Lawrence up into the Côte Nord region. I'd really look forward to riding this region for the spectacular views of the St. Lawrence. And then if I'm lucky, I would get on a ferry and head down to Matane, through Rimouski and back to Quebec City. I think what I would look forward most to riding in this region is it would redefine Quebec for me. So far I stick to the more remote northern regions of Quebec, and I would look forward to riding more central to Quebec City and also just taking in the culture and the scenery that the St. Lawrence has to offer. These are just a few of the reasons why Quebec is my favorite stomping ground. I live in Ontario, and it's so close to my backyard that I can't resist every season going back for more. The hospitality that Quebec has to offer in the winter season is the best in the world as far as I'm concerned. The trails, the scenery, everything about it, there's nothing else that compares to that level of riding for me.